Hey all, it's been about a month since my interview with A Current Affair. It just aired last night, which is really cool. I really appreciate that A Current Affair put the word out there. It was more of a softer, how do I put it? Softer interview, I guess, the one that got published. Then there's obviously a few things in there that I guess due to legalities they weren't able to publish it. I'm assuming. I don't know. And I completely understand that, something that I've discovered through this journey is that doctors are either too afraid to speak out about other doctors, and they kind of just band together. And even with lawyers, it's a bit difficult to get a lawyer to actually speak on medical negligence. So I understand that there was some things that wasn't able to be included. So I thought I would say them all here. Because what are the Bundaberg Doctors going to do? Are they going to come down and speed up my stage 3 cancer? I don't think so, because that would take them effort, and that's not something they're very good at. Anyway, so the things I wanted to cover, that a few of the comments on the episode were saying, these are doctors from overseas and that's why this is occurring. The Bundaberg Doctors, yes, I do believe that one of the entire practices up there, you can look it on the website. I feel as though if I name and shame these doctors, that I could get sued into oblivion. I'll talk more about legalities and stuff a little bit later on. So I'm not going to mention that, but yes, if you Google the doctors in Bundaberg, there is a practice up there which is entirely overseas people. But the thing is, it wasn't all my doctors. Like the two in Bundaberg, the main ones, yes, it was people from overseas. Which I didn't think anything of, because I thought, well, Australia has certain health standards and everyone's going to be required to stand by those, right? But unfortunately, I don't think that's actually the case. But the third doctor that I saw was an Aussie, like a 40-year-old woman, not from overseas, not anything like that. And she looked me in the face and said, "Why do you want to fix it?" So, not great. One more thing I wanted to add as well is my grandfather, his name was James Turner, affectionately called Jim Turner, and he was a doctor, a really good doctor. He was magnificent, and you can look him up because he was basically Wollongong celebrity. And he actually had a practice, and he used to teach other doctors how to be doctors. So I had faith that if you went to a doctor and you got a test done and they told you that you were all clear or whatever, that I just had faith that they would tell you what the results actually were. I never in a million years thought I'd end up in this situation. Again, my grandfather was brilliant. He had a high standard, and I thought that was the Australian standard for healthcare. But obviously, I was wrong. And something that I want to make clear as well is it wasn't just a matter of me being like, there was 100% I did not get diagnosed with cancer, and I should have been, right? But something I want to make clear is I kept pushing for tests, pushing for tests. And the tests that I was given actually show in the report possible lymphoma. They show abnormal cells. They show multiple inflamed lymph nodes. I was told I was all clear and sent home, which is crazy work to me, because for the doctor to have not diagnosed me with cancer, there was multiple levels of negligence, like multiple steps of negligence involved. One had to not look at the test results at all. Like, the test results were in front of their face. Like, they would have had to pull those up and literally just ignore what was written, despite the fact that I kept pushing for tests, went to different practices, everything. Just ignored that. The other thing was ignoring advice from the radiologist that said follow up urgently with a core biopsy. No. I didn't know anything about that. So there was multiple levels of neglect, and it was beyond just, oh, I think you're fine. It was literally ignoring printed test results from tests and actively choosing not to follow them up. So explain that one to me. And when you have a patient as well that's in there saying, I think this could be cancer, and dismissing them and being like, no, you're too young, and basically making me out to feel like I was stupid for bringing that up. Anyway, so that's one point. The next point that I want to bring up is Queensland law, because every single person in Queensland needs to be aware of this, and this is the whole reason that I've put my face out there, that I've gone on a current affair, and all of that is because I am technically a lucky one, right? I mean, I'm not lucky in the way that, like, this has happened, like, it's horrible, it's impacted my life, blah, 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 you get the picture. However, there are 5 other people that just I personally know about that have had this experience with cancer in Bundaberg, with doctors telling them they're fine and sending them home to die, despite the fact that they're clearly not fine and there are test results saying they're not fine. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get anyone else to, like, come forward and be part of the current affair, but I am concerned for the people of Bundaberg and the people in Queensland in general, because this was obvious negligence, and I ended up contacting a lawyer in Queensland just to be like, hey, can you take my case? Now, they ended up calling back and saying, hey, like, I'm sorry, but we can't take your case because you're not working. I don't know why they thought I wasn't working at the time, because I was. And I said, well, actually, I was working while I was up in Bundaberg, and I actually had 3 jobs at one point up there anyway. So I was like, I definitely was working, and I sent through all, like, pay slips, all info, everything. And she was like, oh, okay, that might change things. But it ended up, like, I didn't make enough money in order for it to be worth actually trying to hold a doctor accountable. And before anyone asks, yes, I have reported to APHA. Now, because they're in Queensland, there's this whole other process you have to go to. Queensland law is, like, exempt with a lot of things when it comes to holding doctors accountable. The only way they hold doctors accountable is financially. That's the only way. It doesn't, and the lawyer on the phone told me this. She said, it does not matter if you wake up from a surgery with the wrong leg missing. If there is not a financial loss to you because of what has happened, good luck holding the doctor accountable. And even for the interview, like, trying to get a doctor to actually interview was like pulling teeth. And you'll notice there was no doctor, because they either don't want to speak bad about other doctors, or they don't want to be involved. It's very much like doctors will not talk on behalf of other doctors, or, you know, interview about their own actions. Like, no. So yeah, and the lawyer on the phone, who I'm not going to name, but the lawyer on the phone said to me that it is the worst part of her job is the fact that doctors are not able to be held accountable properly. And she said it sucks, and it's not fair, and it's not right. She went on, like, a full tangent about Queensland law, and I really appreciate that, because I didn't know that, and I don't feel like anyone knows that. And the money I was making, like, to live and survive on was not enough to hold anyone accountable, because, again, Queensland only holds doctors accountable if there is financial loss, which means every single Queenslander is hugely vulnerable. If you're not making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, good luck to you. Also, good luck with anyone who is elderly, single mum, stay-at-home mum, mums in general. If you're an older man, like, that's just, you know, I've heard of a story of an older man that, you know, anyway, look, my point is, Queenslanders, you cannot hold a doctor accountable unless it's financial, and it is going to cost you more money to hold that doctor accountable than it is to, like, actually get any money from them or any justice. So they're basically untouchable in Queensland unless you are like the upper echelon elite. Good luck to you. So I'm bringing awareness to that because that's not something that can be said in the media, and it's not something that a lawyer is going to interview and say on air, and it's not something that a doctor is going to, you know, doctors aren't going to testify against other doctors. So there you go. I'm very lucky that I have a really, really good doctor. She is amazing now that I've found her. She's the one I credit with, you know, getting this whole ball rolling, saving my life. Eternally grateful to her. She is a real doctor. But again, I think trying to find a real doctor in this country is like pulling teeth. And my cancer had already reached my spleen. It was already in my organs by the time that this discovery actually happened. And this was with me pushing, me bringing up cancer, me pushing for tests and having the test results in front of the doctor's face and them doing absolutely nothing about it. I have a 3-year-old daughter. For the majority of my motherhood journey, for the majority of me being a mum, I have had cancer that has been untreated. So yeah, I'm putting that out there. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was about the APHA. So they have actually taken my complaint, but because it was Queensland, I had to go through the Ombudsman first, because Queensland has a special process. So I went through the Ombudsman, I told them, hey, I've actually taken this to the media, blah, blah, blah. So they actually wrote back to me, they are taking my complaint. The Ombudsman's, after they've taken it, they've passed it over to the APHA because that's their process. You have to give it to the Ombudsman in Queensland and then the APHA. That's what they told me. The other thing with this practice that I saw is they said that they would bulk bill me after the first session. Turns out that was a lie, and they would actually charge me every single session to see the doctor, which, you know, I was just like, okay, I have to pay, but it was just another thing where it wasn't an honest thing. I have brought that up in my complaint, and they said, well, that's actually not something that they can deal with because practices are able to decide what they charge on an individual basis or something along those lines. So there's no accountability for the overcharging of vulnerable people either. Like, imagine some older man or woman on a pension trying to afford their fees every single time when they've blatantly lied to them. It's insane. Anyway, I'm going to leave this video now because I think that's enough. And I will put my test results and stuff at the end of this, showing what they blatantly ignored, and maybe the little bit from the Ombudsman as well. Thank you. At the first doctor told me I was all clear, dismissed me, and when I went to the second practice, I got all my records transferred. I got told I was all clear again at a different place. Like, yeah, very weird. So, if you're in Bundaberg or Queensland, look after yourself. The test results weren't saying all clear. until I went to my fourth doctor in New South Wales, who then let me know that these results were urgent results way back from May 2nd, 2024. Also, in order for me to get all of my doctor's consult notes to prove that they told me I was all clear for a current affair, my original practice charged me $100 in order to release my health records to me. Very money hungry.